Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another fascinating episode of Raw Dogs.
Brought to you by Gator Light Rapid Rehydration.
And brought to you by Liquid Death Mango Chainsaw, flavored sparkling water for when you're not feeling great.
Tastes like goop.
If it sounds like my voice is a little tired, it's because it is. And I'm getting over a sickness, and there's nothing that I want to do more, though, than discuss some video games on Raw Dogs here with my lovely co-host, Dylan.
That'd be me. Happy to see everyone. I can see you, just so you're aware.
Get that out of your hand. We know what you're up to.
Oh, okay.
I've got like them, not you.
Oh, I've got like the Dark Knight video surveillance set up. I can see all of you.
Morgan Freeman walks. He's like, "This is wrong, Dylan."
I said, "But it's so right."
And you're just rubbing your belly button. Yes, and I am Brad. We are part of the Dogcast Network. To make sure to check out all of the other amazing shows, including Popcorn Dogs, Elden Dogs, and of course, Hair of the Dogcast. And yes, theme song by David Wise. We love you, David. Today is a great gamers in history, which is a fun episode type that we've done some of before.
We haven't done it in a while.
I think the last one might have been Hank Rogers and Alexei Pajitnov.
That was ages ago.
That was like episode 82. I think it was just those two, and then we did a Nolan Bushnell. I think that was the only ones we've done.
We might as well have done a Hideo Kojima at this point, but we talked about him in one of the early episodes quite a bit. I think we got that covered.
And we did talk about Gunpei Yokoi quite a bit for the Nintendo Strange Toys episode. But
true enough.
Yes, today we're talking about the legend himself, Shigeru Miyamoto.
Shigi-san.
Shigi-san. I'm not good with honorifics. Now, when we refer to Miyamoto, we should use, is it better to use his last name, San? Like Miyamoto-san? Is that?
San is general respect.
What is profound respect? Domo? Sama. Is that too much, though? Maybe that would be. Yeah.
Or since we are kind of a student of video games, we could call him sensei, but that's really weeby. It's kind of weeby.
We were called weebs one time on our, I think it was our Ayuden Chronicle episode.
Really?
Someone's like, if I want to listen to a bunch of weebs talk about politics, I'd listen to something else. I'm like, yes.
I'm proud to have that.
Yeah, I like it when we get sassy comments. If you hate us, go ahead and comment. We don't care either way.
Also, if you don't like our politics, fuck off.
We agree. I agree. Yeah. And we do have one beer we will drink today. This is from our lovely friend Phil.
Oh, not I. I'm having more. I'm in pain.
Oh, yes. You're in pain. As I'm getting over my sickness, I haven't been drinking almost anything, but this is another lovely beer from Arkansas. This is Brewed with Love by Mother's Brewing Company. Kind of appropriate. He worked on the Mother game. We'll stretch it. He's the mother of Nintendo. This is Marshmallow Winter Grind, a stout with coffee, vanilla, and marshmallow flavoring. It is a 6% beer, and we are in the middle of a winter grind right now, so I figured
that's got a nice head.
Would be appropriate. Thank you, Phil. Cheers, Dylan.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
There's a nice richness.
I don't get too much sweetness. The marshmallow's not overpowering, which I was worried about. I do love a coffee stout. I get the vanilla. I do get some of that vanilla in there.
Yeah.
We actually have an announcement. We're changing the Gulf of America to the Gulf of Raw Dogs today.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really into it.
We're talking to Google. We'll see what we can do. Shigeru Miyamoto. Everyone knows who he is. He's a legend.
Do you think if you walked up to people on the street, how many people out of 10 would know his name?
Would know his name? Like, who is the creator of Mario?
Or like
2 out of 10? I'd say 1 out of 5 people.
1 out of 5?
I would say.
Okay.
Because that's Shigeru Miyamoto is not a super common name.
And I also think that newer gamers probably don't have that cultural zeitgeisty moment in their mind when he was kind of everywhere, like the late 90s, mid 2000s, where he was basically just kind of the ad man too.
Well, and I think that kind of peaked a little bit in 2004 when he came out dressed as Link, and he was like the figurehead for Wii for a while too, like out there like conducting and
Wii music.
Yep. that great game.
Have you ever played it?
No.
Neither have I.
I saw him play it, and that was enough. So everyone's kind of familiar with Miyamoto. I was surprised to just look at his actual gamography, look at what he worked on, and how involved. Because the list is, if you go to the Nintendo Wikipedia versus the regular Wikipedia to anywhere else online, it pretty much says he's involved in every Nintendo game ever made.
Yeah.
Which isn't true.
No. But you want his name on it anyway. It's one of those things. It's like, look, you may not have tried this game if you hadn't seen that name.
It's produced by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. They were not there in Indy 5.
No.
I think it's a little bit like that. Miyamoto definitely did have his hands in many pies. He would show up, I think, often and say, it'd be cooler if you did this, do that. And then, like, that was a lot of his input on, I think, many of the games he was listed as a producer on. But even that list, it's tenuous. It's not consistent.
No.
Sometimes it's all these games, sometimes it's not. So I tried to make a list that is fairly concrete, but also we're probably going to get things wrong. I think he likes his anonymity, and I think that there's not a lot about his personal life.
I think that they are allowed to have that a little more in other countries. I think that the work is the work, and their home life is a little bit different.
There's something like they would find completely tasteless about saying hello to him on a subway or something.
Yeah, there's got to be something like that.
Yeah.
Just leave him alone.
Miyamoto was born November 16th, 1952 in Sonobe, Kyoto, Japan. Parents were of modest means, and his father taught English. His family had lived in the town of Sonobe for 5 generations, and growing up, the family never had a car or a television. Which, I don't want to say, if you don't have a television, maybe your creativity was a little higher, but I think that he probably had to resort to different means for fun without, especially when you're not able to drive places. Like, he was probably limited to where he could go, and he did a lot of just like imagining and playing outside.
They also have a lot more walkable towns.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And work is usually like 10 minutes away.
Not the hell of America.
Yeah. I love driving my car.
As a child, Miyamoto liked exploring. He once found a cave but couldn't find the courage to enter, and he returned with a lantern in hand. He liked drawing, painting, playing baseball, and participating in puppet shows. He is fond of puppets. Whenever you read about Star Fox, he always weasels puppets in any way he can.
Yeah.
Yep. On very few occasions per year, he and his family would venture to the city in Kyoto via train and would enjoy going to movie theaters to watch a film, particularly those made by Walt Disney. So I don't even know what it would be, Walt Disney films in like the 60s.
They probably...
late 50s, early 60s, Snow White?
Snow White was actually released around 1940.
Okay.
We're getting... But here's the thing, though. They were probably airing a lot of those movies after the fact because there would be licensing deals that probably weren't put in place until after the war. So then, like, subbing and dubbing. If they chose to dub it, I'm not even sure what that would be. That's interesting.
And at the age of 11, his father purchased a TV, and Miyamoto became a big fan of Japanese animation. In middle school, he got into manga. Now, manga is a type of comic book, but it's in Japan.
It's true.
And it's right to left. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I certainly don't have an entire bookshelf coded in it.
Apparently, Dragon Ball Z is based on a manga.
It's true.
Now, a lot of people don't know that.
Not Dragon Ball Super, though.
No, and it shows. Originally, he wanted to become a professional manga artist before considering video games, influenced by manga's classic Kisho Tenketsu narrative structure. Do you know what that is?
No.
A narrative structure devoid of conflict.
Oh. So like a slice of life kind of...
I think it would be akin to like the Hangout episode in between big story moments.
Oh, God.
Where it's just kind of characters doing things. I don't know. But he was also into Western genre TV shows, so he also did like conflict and plot as well. He was in a manga club upon entering high school.
Are you saying it like that on purpose?
Manga? Is it manga?
It's manga.
Manga.
I don't want the weebs to go after you.
Well, I'm drinking a manga chainsaw from Liquid Death.
Wow.
Mungo. Sorry, you don't want the weebs going after me, so I'm not a weeb.
You're just getting old. It's
Take
fine.
that, commenter.
You just don't have Riz?
Shut the fuck up. I have more Riz than you ever would know.
It's not true.
His family would move to Kyoto later on, broadening his possibilities, and he was inspired to enter the video game industry after playing the 1978 arcade hit Space Invaders.
Great game, though.
He graduated from Kanazawa Municipal College of Industrial Arts with a degree in industrial design. According to him, he has said that he wasn't a very good student and wouldn't attend class as he was supposed to, but rather enjoyed various unrelated luxuries.
Wow, sounds familiar.
Sounds
like me.
Yeah, fuck class. Mm-hmm. Could go and play Space Invaders instead.
Yeah, basically.
He's always been interested in the banjo.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen him play the banjo. I'm sure there's a video of him playing it.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't. Maybe he plays it around the campfire. Maybe it's like a special thing he does.
Yeah.
It's a good choice in instrument. I wonder what type of music he would like that has the banjo in it. Do you think he's a bluegrass guy?
He's a really big bluegrass guy.
Really?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of shows.
Bluegrass, it's a hard kind of music to hate, but you got to be in the right mood for it.
Yeah. I could listen to it kind of all the time.
It's just heavy metal folk music.
Well, it's good country is what I like to call it.
Okay. We'll shake hands and meet in the middle. He made a band with some of his fellow classmates and performed in numerous venues in Japan.
Wow.
Some of his musical inspirations included the Beatles, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and Doc Watson.
Doc Watson's awesome.
I don't know Doc Watson.
He's very good. He does a lot of like hymnals and like covers of various folk songs, but he has this really rich, deep voice, and he can wail on the guitar. He's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll play you a song after.
Yeah. Miyamoto, 5 years later, would graduate from college. Upon graduating, he was given a proposal to join Nintendo. Hiroshi Yamauchi, president of Nintendo, and Miyamoto's father were friends. Nepotism much?
Actually, that's just good connections.
Yes. Well, that helped him get the interview. And at the interview, he showcased simple toy ideas such as a three-way seesaw, children's clothes hangers with animal designs on them, and a clock designed to be used at an amusement park.
He's kind of a wacky guy.
He was into toys.
Yeah.
He liked to make weird things.
I think he is ultimately a toy guy.
I think, yeah, he's got a very good sensibility for what's fun. Mm-hmm. And he's able, I think he's almost more valuable as someone who visits like production.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because he can give like some
plays like the first level and
non-biased feedback. Yep. I know there's the story of him with Breath of the Wild, and all of the developers are just sitting there with bated breath as he holds it for the first time. And he just climbs trees for like 10 minutes. And he's like, it's good.
I remember hearing that anecdote. Or did I see him do it?
You might have seen him. I think that is a video you can see.
I'm sure I saw that. And I think I saw it in like 2014 when they were first showcasing. He's like, and then I climbed the tree. Now I'm taking the apple off of the tree.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, okay.
And they're just sitting there like taking notes, like, okay.
He is a bloodhound for fun, though. And I think his version of fun may have more to do with like busy hands. I think he's got pretty bad ADD from my understanding.
Maybe that's why he dislikes RPGs.
Yeah, probably.
Simple toy ideas.
Not to speculate, whatever.
That's actually true. He dislikes most RPGs.
Yeah, well, I knew that.
He got hired as a concept artist and once said that one reason he joined the company was because of the wide range of products they were creating, and he said, they'll let me do what I want to do. First projects, he helped make the housing designs for Color TV Racing 112. He wanted to make a better piece of hardware than that what was available in Color TV Games 6 and 15, which he said were bad. He included a steering wheel and a gear stick to race and make it more accessible.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Did I own some sort of like knockoff of this? Because I know it wasn't I know we had those because I remember playing with them.
It was like the weird standalone rip-off consoles. Nintendo,
the shifter and the
before they were their own, video game juggernaut, they were just making knockoffs and clones and
a Hanafuda company.
Is that what? Oh yes, the playing cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, He would create the character designs for the arcade game Space Fever, a Space Invaders clone. And following this, he had similar roles in Sheriff and Space Firebird.
Wow. Names back then. You could just call shit.
Space Firebird is pretty cool, though.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'd be the name of my spaceship.
Do you think if they had made the idea for Star Wars now, they would call it Star Wars? Or would they be like, come on, we got to bring this back to the pitching table?
Well, it's, you can't even imagine that. The world that couldn't exist the way it is without Star Wars today.
Oh, man.
What would be the popular sci-fi? I mean, Star Trek was around, but Star Trek wasn't the great common popularizer that Star Wars was.
No, not until syndication.
We needed something simple.
Yeah.
We needed brothers and sisters kissing, and we needed a dude who shot bad guys.
Laser sword.
Yep. Oh, this is a Gungan. Nintendo had moderate success with video game clones, but they were ready to break in themselves, and they wanted to expand to North America. They originally opened up a branch in New York, but later resettled to Seattle. They ordered a division in Nintendo to create a smash hit that would be incredibly successful in North America. The result was Radar Scope. Miyamoto worked on the casing of the machine and the designs of the hardware. He did not create the characters. A shipment of 3,000 Radar Scope units arrived in the United States after around 4 months at sea, which is just funny to me. But by the time it arrived, it was outdated, and they managed to only move 1,000 of the 3,000 machines.
Oh, Jesus. What is Radar Scope?
Well, it was the husk of the arcade cabinet that Donkey Kong was built into.
Oh, nice.
Since Radar Scope failed, we got Donkey Kong. Minoru Arakawa, the president of the American branch, desperately tried to keep Nintendo of America afloat and requested Hiroshi Yamauchi to create a game to be placed within the Radar Scope units. And this brings us to Donkey Kong 1981, his first time directing and designing. Yamauchi was reluctant because everyone who was worthwhile within Nintendo was hard at work on other projects. The person he found was Shigeru Miyamoto with no prior game design experience whatsoever.
Man, you really could just at one time walk into a place and if you had the right attitude, they'd take you.
How much of it was just right place, right time? Like, because the industry was waiting to be exploded on. And the fact that you have all of these big juggernauts, and he just kind of got hired because he was into toys, and he was right place, right time. It's very wild.
I guess you hear less about like the failures than the successes, so it makes a ton of sense. But that is some string. I guess maybe he did work very hard at the company. Maybe he was just a dedicated employee who they were like, we're already like the sunk cost fallacy. Let's just get him to do something.
Yeah, a heavy weight was placed on Miyamoto's shoulders, and his design choices would ultimately decide the fate of Nintendo of America. So he was in a pretty big position.
Man. And he would have been, he would have been our age almost. He would have been like 32 or 30. He would have been 30 exactly.
Yep. A little under 30 when he was actually making it. Since he didn't really know how to make a game at all, Yamauchi turned to a Nintendo veteran, Gunpei Yokoi. Fucking that dude is OG. Mm-hmm. Miyamoto wanted to create something entirely new, not a shooter or a maze game, which for those are the two that they referenced in this because it's either
those
like
were the games.
Tanks and shooting
Move
or
the dot.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, move the dot.
He wanted something with a plot. He desperately wanted to get a license to make a Popeye game.
Yeah.
Which...
That's pretty common knowledge, I think, at this point.
Even as a kid, Popeye wasn't for me, but Popeye was older.
I loved Popeye.
Yeah.
Didn't you... I had a bunch of VHS tapes, and I don't know who made them for me, but they had every single, like, Popeye, Mighty Mouse, all that stuff, and I would just watch them all on repeat. I loved them.
Yeah.
But that's the only way I would have been able to watch them. They weren't airing a lot of that stuff just regularly.
Yeah.
On TV.
Because it's an older cartoon, mm-hmm. and that's why some of the design work or the concepts they had done were locked in before they didn't get the rights. So that's why you have a big oafish character, a younger, smaller character, mm-hmm. and a female.
Yeah,
Bluto, Popeye. Is it Bluto? I think so.
Yeah, it's Bluto.
And what's the girl's name? Olive Oil.
There you go. Yeah. I let you get it.
Thank you. But instead, we got Donkey Kong, Jumpman, and Pauline. Miyamoto confirmed that he wanted the name Kong in the game and that donkey was supposed to mean stupid, so he went with that. He said that when he explained the name to those at Nintendo of America, they chuckled at the idea, but they went through with it anyway. This would be Miyamoto's first time working with Toshihiko Nakago, a programmer who would work on almost every video game we're talking about the rest of this episode.
Yep.
Koji Kondo shows up soon, as well as Takeshi Tezuka. All people that are just Dream Team Nintendo legends.
OGs.
The game was a massive hit. Everyone in the American branch hated it, except Minoru Arakawa, but he wanted the name change, but Yamauchi said, no, fuck off, it's good.
I like that.
It's good to have the president in your pocket, or in your hand anyways. Within months, Donkey Kong would become one of the most successful games of that generation, selling 4,000 units a month.
Wait, so the Americans did not, when they play tested it, they did not like it?
They thought it was too complex and confusing.
Think about that. Because it's really intriguing to me, because when we talk about like video games as a language that we've learned, whenever I like if I got some 65-year-old woman to play Assassin's Creed for like the first time, and like camera movement, even Jordan, she doesn't like having to move the camera in a video game.
Same with Carly.
But for me, I don't even think about it. I can even do fun little tricks with it so I can get good views of stuff. But
you have a cinematic flair when you're playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's something you learn over time. So if they thought that was complicated, what if we went back to the past and showed them Elden Ring?
Oh, yeah. Showed them Elden Ring Night Rain. Yeah. The most confusing, fast game. To me, it's probably a little bit more like these head honchos are not necessarily people with their fingers on the pulse of video games. It is probably studio heads, people like that who think if two people say they didn't like Suicide Squad and they liked the trailer more, which is done by a music video guy, we're going to have the whole thing recut by the music video guy. Mm-hmm. People that are more trying to figure out money and demographics rather than, is it a good fucking game? Mm-hmm. Which clearly none of them knew. And managed to sell over 60,000 cabinets by the end of 1982. The game had what Wikipedia said the first plot of gaming, and I think that's some fucking tenuous bullshit.
That can't be right, though.
It can't be right. Pac-Man had a girlfriend. To me, that's a little bit of a storyline.
If there's no words in the game aside from the word Donkey Kong.
Well, you're saving a girl, but also...
you're also repelling Space Invaders and Space Invaders.
Yeah.
Like a plot, I mean, like you're doing one thing. Yeah. I guess that's is an action plot. Ugh.
Yeah, that's why when I saw
Wikipedia,
chicken
or the egg,
I'm like,
man.
You can fuck off with that.
Yep.
It did feature multiple stages, and it also says elaborate cutscenes. They did have a moment where they like kissed between levels or whatever.
It's true.
Very elaborate. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So hot too.
So hot. I was like, well, it's my first girlfriend, Pauline. You know.
Yeah. All of our first girlfriend.
I went to bed that night. I'm like, wow.
Dreamy.
He would go on to direct and design Donkey Kong Jr. in 1982. He was assigned to make a sequel, and he's like, this time, we're going to switch it up, and you'll play as Donkey Kong. But they realized playing as full-size Donkey Kong would look a little stupid and not play as well, so they made Donkey Kong Jr.
Donkey Kong Jr. Where the hell did he go, huh?
Well, he might be... I think he's allegedly Donkey Kong's father.
Yeah. Well, now the movies have kind of changed that.
Yeah.
In the zeitgeist. Now, Cranky Kong is just his dad.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't.
And I don't know why they have to get rid of Junior. Bring Donkey Kong Jr. back in Mario Kart.
He was in the DS one, right?
I'm not sure. But he was on the Super Nintendo
remember.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He designed Popeye in 1982. And then in 1983, directed and designed a video game called Mario Bros. Mm-hmm. After the success of Donkey Kong, Miyamoto wanted to focus more on Mario. He introduced Mario's brother Luigi, and it was a multiplayer game. An employee at Nintendo of America took note and said Mario looks strikingly similar to a plumber, so Miyamoto changed his occupation accordingly and placed the game in the sewers of Brooklyn. In Donkey Kong, Mario dies if he falls too far, so Gunpei Yokoi suggested to Miyamoto he should be able to fall from any height, which Miyamoto was not sure of, thinking it would be not much of a game if he couldn't die from falling. It's funny.
Fall damage, a thing that annoys me in all video games.
Some games it's okay.
Some games it's fine if the game is if the game is realistic. I do want it, but it's such a balance.
Yeah.
Like if I fall from 5 feet and I'm dead, no.
Yeah.
If I fall from 20 feet, yeah, I'm dead.
I like it in games like Grand Theft Auto where it's like gangsters can't swim. Water kills you immediately. I'm like, maybe you can swim.
It'd be nice to swim.
Gangsters can't swim, though, canonically.
No, that's what I heard.
But Miyamoto did agree, thinking it would be okay for him to have some superhuman abilities, like not dying from fall damage. He designed a prototype that had Mario jumping and bouncing around, which he was satisfied with. Also, the element of combating enemies from below was introduced after Yokoi suggested it. Observing that it would work since there were multiple floors. However, it proved to be too easy to eliminate enemies this way, so they required players to touch the enemies after they flipped them to defeat them. This was how they came up with the turtle enemy. Flip them once, and then you could get rid of them.
Koopa.
The Koopalings. Just Koopas. Those are different. Pipes were inspired by several manga.
Nice.
See
Whoa.
that there?
I like that eyebrow raise. Very good.
I read it right to left, so you know what I'm talking about. In this game, they were used to allow the enemies. Pipes were allowed to allow the enemies to enter and exit the stage through them to avoid getting enemies piled up at the bottom of the stage. The green coloring of the pipes is an uncommon color, but Miyamoto had said they had a limited color palette and wanted to keep it colorful.
That's iconic too.
Very iconic. That green.
Everyone knows what a Mario pipe is.
Well, in Super Mario Bros., that blue sky was pretty uncommon at the time too, because it was all black. Because it was deemed easier on the eyes, less eye strain. And video games will rot your eyes if you play them.
Nah, not me. I've got perfect vision.
I was told this.
Oh.
Are you saying my parents are wrong?
I think they just wanted you to get off your ass.
But I accomplished so much in my life. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, me too.
Please, we need your money. He added that the green was the best because it worked well with when two shades of it were combined. The music of the game is based around the beginning of Mozart's Ein klein Nachtmusik. And like Donkey Kong, this game achieved instant success and caused Yamauchi to assign Miyamoto to a new position where he would control an entire gaming division that would eventually become the most important video game developer in the world.
RD1.
RD1. The division was created in order for Nintendo to make games specifically for the recently released Famicom, which came out a year prior. It was time for Miyamoto to prove himself once more. 1983, he directed Donkey Kong 3. And
that one's bad.
Stanley the Bugman, like what the fuck?
And it's basically like Space Invaders, right? I played it maybe twice in my life.
Well, to me, it's not a bad game, but it's a bad Donkey Kong game.
Certainly.
I don't know. For what it is what it is, and it's good fine. At what it is.
I don't know.
It's not for me.
I guess I did get bored by it. I guess I'm being kind of, I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where someone tells you, "Oh, I loved this game when I was a kid," and then you play it and you're like, no. Even by today's standards, I'm like, ugh. Like and we all know Matt, right?
Yeah.
But we were playing Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and I was like, this game is really, really bad.
I hate it. I hate Sonic 1.
Sonic 2 is great.
If you play Sonic 1 with the functionality of Sonic 2, it's more tolerable.
Oh, yeah. Spin dash. Yeah,
you need spin dash.
Yeah.
Do you know the game Devil World?
No.
It sounds cool, doesn't it?
I think I've heard of it.
That's the first game Miyamoto worked on for the Famicom, a Pac-Man-like game that wasn't released elsewhere due to its sensitive biblical themes. He worked with Takashi Tezuka. Like we mentioned, he would go on to be involved in directing, designing, and supervising in some capacity pretty much the rest of the games we are talking about today. But yes, Devil World, I think, is on the Nintendo library on the Switch.
No shit.
It might be. Excitebike, 1984, director and game designer. The smooth side-scrolling game engine his team developed for Excitebike was later used to develop Super Mario Brothers.
I love Excitebike.
Excitebike's a great game.
Yeah, it's a very, very good video game still.
I played a decent amount of Excitebike 64 back in the day, too.
That's a good game, too, though.
House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played, when the Wii came out, there weren't a lot of options, but there was this fabulous racing game called Excite Truck.
Okay.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it was like a arcade rally racer.
Yeah.
It was fucking astonishingly good. Give it a shot. I wish I still had it, actually.
I like the Excitebike Mario Kart track a lot, too. There's something really, really charming about that.
And it works, actually, very well.
Yep. Because Mario Kart games actually have a fair amount of jumping.
And a lot of stunts. You can do stunts.
Super Mario Brothers. You heard of this one? It's based on a Chris Pratt movie.
Oh, that one. The one that looks all old and shit.
Yes. You play as Seth Rogen.
Oh.
Who steals a woman named Anya Taylor-Joy.
Whoa. You mean Jack Black?
Oh, I was doing Donkey Kong. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
But Super Mario Brothers, it's...
Who's the voice of Cranky Kong?
Will Forte?
Fred Armisen.
Fred Armisen. I get them fucking mixed up, and I do not know why.
Close. They had an SNL 50th anniversary concert spectacular the other night. We watched some of it.
Was it good?
The ones we watched were good.
Okay.
But Super Mario Brothers, Miyamoto directed, produced, and designed for that game. Developed concurrently with The Legend of Zelda.
That's astonishing.
Can you imagine those they're going back and forth over the course of like a year or two with those two games. And what didn't work for one, they'd put in the other.
Well, it's like the other Miyazaki with, or the other Miyazaki. Like Miyazaki doing Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne at the same time.
But those two games still share a shitload of DNA, whereas like Mario and Zelda, they are still like genre defining for two separate like classes of video games.
Well,
open world, adventure exploration, fucking platformer.
Metal Gear Solid 3 and what's it called? The Sun is in Your Hands, Batos or something like that. Boktai, yeah.
Which I always wanted to play, but I never got.
I just don't think I would have found enough sunlight
No.
to kill the vampires.
Mom, I need to buy this artificial sunlight for my bedroom because I'm not going outside. Yes, developed at the same time as Legend of Zelda, Mario Brothers both shared numerous staff members: Miyamoto, Tezuka Nakago, Koji Kondo, Kazuaki Morita, Yasunari Nishida, and Hiroshi Yamauchi.
Do you think they partied together?
At least, well, I don't know. I couldn't find much on the partying aspect, but I know Miyamoto at many points of his life was like a chronic smoker. Just fucking chain smoke cigarettes.
Man, he's looking pretty good for a chronic chain smoker.
He might have gotten away from that.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm sure his PR said,
stop.
At least cut back.
But it's so cool.
It is cool.
This episode is brought to you by Winston Cigarettes.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yummy. Tar.
Cancer. In February 1985, the team chose the name Super Mario Brothers after implementing the Super Mushroom power-up. The use of mushrooms to change size was influenced by Japanese folktales in which people wander into forests and eat magical mushrooms. This also resulted in the game world being named the Mushroom Kingdom.
You know, I might have wandered into a few forests in my day.
It's funny that Mushroom Kingdom and Super being in Mario Brothers is all derived from the concept of like Japanese folklore about tripping on shrooms.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's barely even folklore because it's just psychedelic mushrooms.
Those are people actually having real mythological experiences.
She went into a forest, ate a mushroom, and saw a ghost. Weird.
And she came back a changed woman and learned to love better.
Yeah.
Yep. And to appreciate the little things.
Wow.
Wow, 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 wow. Miyamoto wanted the levels to be around a minute long, and he told SRD to do so. He then realized that it usually takes about a second to travel across a screen and that numerous screens would have to be implemented in one stage. When designing the stages themselves, because a level tool wasn't created yet, Miyamoto and Tezuka would draw the levels on graph paper.
Yeah.
I've seen that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then Nakago and his team would design and program it into the game. If edits were made to the original drawings, a sheet of clear paper was placed over the original drawings. Miyamoto didn't refer to this style of game as a platformer. He called them athletic games.
Is it because he's running?
Because he's running and jumping?
I like it. I kind of really like it. I think it's like platformer. I sometimes I don't actually like calling platformers because it's not all about just hitting other platforms.
It's kind of reductive. There's a lot more happening than just jumping around.
Yeah. So athletic kind of makes a little more sense because usually it's character based.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just start calling them that.
Well, what is like Crash Bandicoot? They call that a platformer. To me, it's not. There's a lot of not platforming in those games.
You're kind of just jumping over pits.
Sometimes there's platforming, but other times, it's more athletic. Mm-hmm. This is my favorite athletic type game. It's a Strand type game.
We'll pitch it to Tyler, see how he thinks about it.
He'll talk about fucking Go or something. It's actually the first open world game.
Oh my God.
Yes. In Mario, Miyamoto downplayed the importance of high score in favor of simply completing the game because who the fuck cares?
I mean, back in the day, people really gave a shit about high scores.
But this wasn't designed for arcades, I guess, which is kind of a different sensibility.
Yeah, but I mean, like, beating your own high score added replayability because there is still a score counter.
Yep, but it was downplayed.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes the scoring makes no sense. It's like how I feel about pinball. I do too, but I just don't really understand how the point system works.
It's arbitrary. Once you start getting like that was worth 30,000 points. Just call it 3.
I don't know. Yeah. This is a good point.
You'd never see a pinball game that does that, like 1 point, 2 point, maybe 10 points. The Legend of Zelda came out 1986. Director, producer, game designer. Tezuka wrote the story and script for Zelda and Zelda 2. Interestingly, the team that worked on Mario Brothers, we mentioned, would be doing it at the same time. With Legend of Zelda, Miyamoto wanted to flesh out the idea of a game world even further, giving players a miniature garden that they can put inside their drawer. He drew his inspiration from his experiences as a boy around Kyoto, exploring fields, woods, and caves, although always trying through Zelda games to impart players with some sense of that limitless wonder he felt through unknown exploration.
How many times have I heard that almost exact same sentence on other podcasts?
I know, right?
It's kind of wild we're actually doing it.
And he found a river behind his house, and he fought a glooper.
A glooper?
I don't know what they are. A like.
An Octrock.
An Octrock.
There you go.
And then he fought a pig who stole his girlfriend, who was a princess.
I miss it when Ganon was a big pig.
I mean, I'm always a big fan of the original design more.
Yeah, I kind of really like the big fat blue pig.
It's a little cooler.
Yeah. Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Bring it
and
back,
bring
Nintendo.
Wart back from Mario Brothers 2.
Honestly,
one of the best Mario villains.
Yeah. Never got to Wart.
Legend of Zelda went on to be pretty successful.
I might have heard about it.
Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels, or Super Mario Brothers 2 in Japan. He directed and produced that. Rather than having 1 or 2 player modes, there are Mario and Luigi modes, only being a single player mode. In this case, Luigi jumps higher and farther than Mario, but has less traction and is slightly slower. Nintendo of America deemed this game too difficult. Speaking of things you hear on other fucking podcasts, you know about Doki Doki Panic? Birdo is a transsexual.
It's true.
Yep. Super Mario Brothers 3 is another game. 1988. Great year for podcasters born that year. He directed, produced, and designed Mario Brothers 3, developed by Nintendo Entertainment Analysis and Development, a team that consisted of more than 10 people.
Whoa.
Why don't they just say 11 or 12, More than 10.
Now that's a workforce.
The game took more than 2 years to complete. He worked closely with the designers and programmers during the conceptual and final stages, encouraging a free interchange of ideas. Originally, the team intended for the game to be played from an isometric point of view.
Uh-oh.
But the developers found that this made it too difficult to position jumps, so the game was changed to the 2D side view used in previous games.
How the fuck would that have even looked?
Well, Super Mario 3D World.
Yeah, but it's on an NES.
I think, if anything, it's just Miyamoto planning 2 generations ahead.
What's it called? Sonic Blast, the Sonic game where they go isometric.
Sonic 3D Blast?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That game was dog shit.
Yeah. Well, and turns out he would make a 3D Mario game that would kind of change everything.
True.
Eventually.
Super Mario Brothers 3, my second favorite Mario game.
Behind
World. Yeah.
I guess I fall into 2 categories, either 2D or 3D Mario games.
Yeah, why don't we separate them then? But my list still remains the same for 2D. What's your favorite 2D?
Mario World.
Yeah. It's really hard to beat that game.
3D, Mario Galaxy 2.
Oh, good choice. I'm going to go with...
Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury.
Pretty much, yeah. How'd you know that? You just guessed, or?
Because I know you.
Oh, okay. Well, it's fine.
Yeah, some isometric elements remain, such as the checkered floor present in the title screen. The game was designed to appeal to players of varying skill levels. To assist less to no skill players, bonus coins and 1-ups were more abundant in earlier worlds, while later worlds present more complex challenges for experienced players. Speaking of other podcasts that have already said this a billion times, the Chain Chomp was inspired by a dog Miyamoto saw and said, "Oh, that's a dog," and jumped at him with a chain.
Yeah. I mean, I love chain chomps. I think they're some of the coolest enemies.
There's something, though, when Miyamoto goes outside, he sees something that becomes a fucking mainstay in gaming history. Whereas I just see a dog, you know? I'm
just really depressed when I'm outside.
I just hate it.
I'm not supposed to be there.
We're tired.
Yeah.
We're overworked.
I'm retired.
I wish.
I'm 65.
We're 70 years old, if you didn't know listening to this show. The Bowser's Children, the Koopalings, were designed to be unique in appearance and personality. Miyamoto based the characters on 7 of his programmers as a tribute to their work and efforts.
One's just Wendy.
Well, that's in America, the names.
I know, but yeah, you know. They're all named after rock stars here.
Yep, Nintendo of America.
Yeah.
Yes, Super Famicom in 1990, Nintendo released the Super Famicom, and wouldn't you know it, they enlisted the help of Miyamoto, who had made some of the fucking biggest games ever. Like, yeah, we still want you. He was brought in to make 9 games that could launch with the console. So with over 95 people on board, they worked tirelessly on 3 games first, one of which would be packed with the console as Super Mario Brothers had been for the NES. The game would be the new Mario title, Super Mario World. And although the Game Boy had already been released the previous year, Miyamoto would not make a game for it until 1992. He produced Mother, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, Wave Race, Super Mario Kart, and Super Mario World. Only a producer, not a director. Takashi Tezuka played more of a prominent role in development of the series, but Miyamoto was there producing. 16 people worked on Super Mario World. And
amazing game.
16 people.
16 people, and it's still the best one?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, I mean, consistent.
And it looks great. Yoshi's so cool.
Yoshi was a character they wanted to include in an early Mario game, but they couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it to look right because
couldn't get riding technology.
Yeah, riding technology because of technical limitations. It was technically impossible on the NES, Miyamoto said, but we were able to finally get Yoshi off the drawing boards. And because of the dinosaur design, that also influenced them to have like the dino enemies and more of a dinosaur flair in Mario World. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Miyamoto intended the game is producer, so more hands off. But at one point, he intended for the game to feature a party, one that consists of the protagonist, a magic user, and a girl.
I like that they kept it simple. And a girl.
You know,
there's a girl there too.
I didn't realize until reading this that he was a major player in the Star Fox franchise.
You didn't realize that?
I didn't. I knew that he liked it. I knew that I'd seen him do stuff with it, but
that was his like pet project.
Big fan.
Yeah, he loved the Thunderbird series.
True.
And he actually tried to make the characters look like those puppets.
He loved puppets.
Sure did.
He became a puppet for Star Fox. Remember when him, Reggie, and Iwata were puppets?
And then they were doing like the smooth like crip walk almost.
It was so
down
cool.
the hallway.
Dude, Xbox and PlayStation can fuck right off.
I'm going to tell you this much. Star Fox Zero is a good game.
I haven't played it.
It's a fucking blast.
Yeah.
Once you get used to the controls.
Yeah.
Which are very strange, but they also work. It's like learning how to drum. You got to use both hands at the same time, but you're using your sticks and the thing at the same time. So you would aim using this, but you have to remember to control the actual plane with your analog sticks. So
weird.
It takes about an hour to get into, and you have to be very concentrated, but it's good. Sound off in the chat. We love Star Fox Zero.
Tell us your feelings about Star Fox in the comments. Rate and review.
Rate and review. Subscribe. Buy Magic Mind.
Sure. The main game design for Star Fox was done by Miyamoto and Katsuya Eguchi. His next game creation would push the SNES to the limits and be critically acclaimed globally. Developed in conjunction with a European developer known as Argonaut Software. And the title, developed by teams mainly from the Nintendo alongside Argonaut Software's programming expertise, became known as Star Fox or Starwing Lylat Wars in Europe due to copyright issues.
Have you gone back to play the original at any point?
I didn't play it back in the day, and I have tried to play it later on.
It's just...
You can't.
No.
It was of its time.
64 is still very fun.
But even that's of its time. And you have more of a nostalgia factor because I didn't play it on the 64 either.
So Star Fox 64 also had a remake port for the 3DS. That 3DS one.
That's cool.
So good.
That's cool. Perhaps more interestingly, which was something gamers may not have realized at the time, that it was one of the first collaborations between an Eastern developer and a Western developer. Miyamoto cited the X-Wings from Star Wars as an inspiration for the R-Wings, and he would frequently visit the Fushimi Inari Taisha Shrine, about a 15-minute walk from the Nintendo corporate headquarters, and the Senbon Torii gates there inspired the gates that the players would need to pilot the ship through. He wanted the Star Fox series to star animal characters since he was not interested in conventional science fiction stories with humans, robots, monsters, and superheroes.
I like it.
Great choice.
It's a great choice.
He created several puppets and photographed them to use as artwork for the cover of the Star Fox game. Fucking cool.
He made that puppet?
It says he created several puppets and photographed them. So if he didn't do it himself, he supervised it and made the decisions. And
that's a really good puppet.
I wonder where they are now.
That's a box seller.
Maybe they're at the Nintendo Museum. They also discussed how Miyamoto would visit them frequently, providing advice and feedback in between puffs of a cigarette. When he would visit the European developers, he'd be just chain smoke and be like, what if it was like a toad who was like real slippy? They're like, what's he even talking about? This
goes like
crazy.
this.
And there's a badass dude. His name is Falco. He's like really cool, but kind of a bad boy. And 1933 to 1995, producer for Kirby's Adventure, Kirby's Dream Course, Kirby's Dream Land 2, Yoshi's Island. Miyamoto instructed his team to create graphics that resembled pastel crayons.
Such a good choice.
When Miyamoto showcased his design, Nintendo approved it and development continued. Donkey Kong Country became very big around this time, and they considered trying to alter the design to more line up with what Donkey Kong Country looked like.
Ew.
Great they didn't.
I mean, it looks good. I still think Donkey Kong Country looks good.
They're just different, and the design of Yoshi's Island is beautiful.
Yoshi's Island is the best looking Super Nintendo game.
That's a hot take. I can't confirm nor deny these allegations.
It's just, it hits on all levels. That would be my favorite Mario game, if not for the fact that there's a whole series of Yoshi games now.
Woolly World is very pretty.
Yeah, but and then there's Crafted World.
The thing is, Yoshi is just baby's first athletic game, you know?
Yeah.
He produced Yoshi's Safari. I forgot this thing existed, the Super Scope Yoshi shooter.
I've never played it.
I forgot it existed.
Yeah, me too.
Also produced a little game called Link's Awakening.
Love it.
He did not provide creative input to staff members, but he participated as a game tester and would offer opinions. He produced in 1996 a game called Pokemon Red and Blue.
Yeah.
He mentored Satoshi Tajiri, guiding him during the creation process. The initial video games in the Pokemon series. He also acted as a producer for these games and worked on social gameplay concepts such as trading.
Link cables. Love it.
Now, Satoshi's still the fucking G there.
Yeah.
But it's cool that he was getting advice and leadership from Miyamoto. The fact that he was involved in so many pivotal games is just insane.
Even the fact that it's an RPG. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know why Earthbound wasn't more popular here. Was it just too weird?
Well, it was, I think, advertised poorly.
It's I know what it is. It's basically a Dragon Quest clone.
Yep.
But there's so much heart and funniness in it. And apparently even Miyamoto didn't like it.
Yeah.
Hated Earthbound.
I don't know if that's true.
I
He's not an RPG guy.
Yeah. Well.
But he did produce a game called Super Mario RPG.
That's a good game.
According to Yoshio Hongo of Nintendo, Super Mario RPG came out of Shigeru Miyamoto's desire to make an RPG game using Mario plus Square's design to develop a game that could do better outside of Japan than their previous games.
Playing the remake of that, I forgot how short it is.
It's a breezy game.
It's quick.
Yeah.
It's insanely quick to even 100% it.
Very fun.
It's a fun game,
the isometric athletic part of the game.
They do better in the remake.
Yeah, either way, though, there were some precision platforming spots, and it was just never consistent for me.
No, it's never.
Kind of like how Landstalker on the Genesis, doing some of that isometric athletic stuff. I'm going to try and not use platformer ever again. Yes.
You're just going to start using it in your daily life, and people are going to be like, does he even play video games?
He says he likes video games, but he keeps calling them athletic games.
What are you, on like a bike when you play this?
It's like you run a lot. It's a running game. Mm-hmm. Produced Kirby Superstar, Pilot Wing 64, Mole Mania, Wave Race 64, Mario Kart 64, but his next time directing and producing a game was Super Mario 64, 1996. Miyamoto hadn't directed a game since Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES, and most assumed that would remain the case since he was promoted to producer. However, with the new console, he became the director of the most pivotal game that would be released on the 64, the new Mario game.
Do you remember playing that for the first time?
I never have beaten Mario 64.
Well, neither have I. Well, no, I have.
I remember stretching his face in a Walmart or a Shopko or Target on the screen.
Yeah.
When you're in the store. And I remember playing at a friend's house and being like, this is the shit. This is
amazing.
This is probably the most athletic game I've ever seen.
So I remember I have older cousins, and they had all the systems because I think they could start working odd jobs before me, like mowing lawns,
bring
stuff
back
like
child
that.
labor.
Well, mowing lawns, if you do it yourself and you're willing, that's fine. $10 per lawn I used to get.
I run a child lawn mowing ring. They have to pay me half.
Nice. So you're like a pimp.
But for children lawnmowers.
Oh, okay. It's better than the alternative.
Thank you.
I guess you're not completely a villain.
It's a lawnmower pimp simulator game I'm doing.
Now I'm just picturing a game where you fuck lawnmowers.
Oh, come on, baby. I'd never do that to you.
Press the injector. Pull the cord.
Don't you make me mad again, lawnmower. Fucking, we're dumb today. Miyamoto.
There's a rock in my rotor. You gotta pick it out.
According to Miyamoto, the development team for Mario 64 consisted of around 15 to 20 people.
Wow. That's a record
crazy.
for the time. Well, I remember playing that for the first time, and I've got to tell you, that game, the way it looks, I thought I was witnessing something that looked like a real cartoon.
Yeah.
You remember when the benchmark was This game looks like a Pixar game.
It looks like Toy Story.
Yes. And it would be like, wow. And even now, Toy Story does not look that good.
Toy Story is not aged well.
No.
It's still fine. The ideas and the story is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, that's there's no shadow in this scene, huh?
No.
Yeah. They're just walking.
Yeah, I'm surprised Pixar hasn't done the Toy Story remake with brand new visuals, the same story, but this time with bigger explosions.
Honestly, with Toy Story 2, they actually lost all of the data.
There's more of a story to that than you think. I watched like a 20-minute YouTube video.
Yeah.
I think it's more of they like that story, and it's got a lot of falsehoods in it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, too. They weren't thinking about video game preservation even then. They didn't have the original programming for Super Mario 64. We're only playing emulated versions of it now.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Some details were inspired by the developers' personal lives. This one's good. For example, the boos are based on
divorce.
Takashi Tezuka's wife. As who Miyamoto explained, she's very quiet normally, but one day she exploded, maddened by all the time Tezuka spent working.
Does she also have like that laugh?
Or maybe it's like whenever he's looking at her, she's fine, but as soon as he turns his back, she's just like fuming.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to think that. I like to think Jordan does that for me.
Mario 64 featured 32 courses. Miyamoto had hoped to create more, possibly up to 40, but it was ultimately reduced to 15 courses.
For the time, that's a lot.
Next game he worked on, Star Fox 64, 1997. Following the release of Star Fox in 93, he began working on Star Fox 2 for the Super Nintendo. The team, as we're aware, had largely finished development before realizing it would require the upgraded Super FX 2 chip, increasing the cost of the game. Saturn.
When there was already a new... Yeah.
There's new consoles already out.
It's too late.
It was too late. The 64 came, Star Fox 2 never did, so they decided to cancel it. And it did include a lot of the ideas and concepts that they had introduced into Star Fox 2, and they implemented into Star Fox 64. And then it was also the first title to make use of the Rumble Pack peripheral, which came bundled with the game in some circumstances. Miyamoto said that during development, players were often confused as to why the controller was vibrating. It's
a weird thing.
The moving controller is the stupidest implementation that was super hot for a while. It's never additive to me.
I like the haptics on the PlayStation.
The PlayStation 5?
Yes, specifically.
Yeah, because when you're talking about just controllers, you're like... Brrr,
yeah.
That's stupid.
Well, the reason I like it is mostly for racing games because you can actually feel like the grind of the wheel under, like when you're pulling a turn too hard, it'll kind of give it a little bit of a shake on one side depending on which wheel it's hitting.
To me, I've never seen a movie there personally, but you ever see those like D-box seats for a movie theater where like the
4DX?
Maybe.
That's what it's called.
Okay, because I saw them called D-box, and it's like those rides where the seat is constantly moving and doing things according to the film. I'm like, that could be additive if you did it almost never, super sparingly, and instead people think if there is a function, they need to do it all the time to remind people that they got it.
Yeah, they do have to program them for each movie that has it.
I watched a scene in a mall at the Mall of America, and it was just showing one scene from Harry Potter in a D-box seat. And in the background, two characters were throwing a fucking ball back and forth. And every time they did, the seat had to hit me. I'm like, why do I care what the background characters are doing right now?
It's distracting.
It was super dumb. It took you right out of the film.
So you've only done it once?
I only saw that one scene. I would never
I would maybe do it for like a Fast and the Furious.
If
movie.
James Cameron did, he's like, this is the D-box movie. Avatar 3 is the D-box film. I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Come on, buddy.
It's James Cameron, dude. Yeah. How's she going to go? Yes. Produced in 1998, 1080 Snowboarding, F-Zero X.
1080 Snowboarding is very good.
He was involved in a good number of sports games, which is cool. 1998, produced and supervised Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Mm-hmm. He was heavily involved in the game's production and now in charge of 5 different directors. So he was kind of directing the directors. When creating Hyrule Castle's market, Miyamoto traveled to Germany for inspiration of its half-timbered architecture. Spent a few weeks in northern Bavaria to be inspired.
Eating them pretzels.
It's funny to me when someone's like, I got to go see what architecture is like in Germany. I'm like, just look at pictures, dude.
I guess there weren't that many.
Maybe. Now you really don't have an excuse to go.
I don't know. The internet did exist, and I'm sure they had it.
Yeah.
But imagine waiting for that JPEG to load.
Top to bottom.
Just waiting for the titty.
Just waiting, dude. It's coming. Despite the setting being a medieval tale of sword and sorcery, Miyamoto opted to use the Chanbara samurai genre of Japanese sword fighting as a model for the game's combat and was content with the positive worldwide reception. Very cool design, the way the lock on and like the way Link does the combat in the 64 Zelda games.
Yeah, like a one-handed kendo.
Very cool. The development for that involved more than 120 people, including stunt performers used to capture the effects of sword fighting and movement. Miyamoto originally intended for Ocarina of Time to be played in a first-person perspective.
Oh.
To enable players to take in the vast terrain of Hyrule Field even better and let the team focus more on developing enemies and environments. That's a different game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are first-person moments.
Yeah.
Like when you got to use hook shots and stuff like that.
And you can go to first-person mode to look around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as functional as a game.
Yeah.
But, wise.
Some sources do say he was so involved, he was as close to being his director of the game as possible. To date, Ocarina of Time remains the series' most successful game and most critically acclaimed. Mario 128 was it was like 2 different prototypes that people kind of conflate into one.
Oh, I saw that trailer.
Yep. It was a planet with Mario running around.
128 of them.
Fucking 2 generations early for Mario Galaxy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This was originally a rumored expansion and sequel to Mario 64 that was going to be made for the 64 DD, but was, canceled since it was a commercial failure in Japan. Mm-hmm. He said at one point, "We haven't decided whether it's 2-player yet. Working on a system where both Mario and Luigi can coexist, and they are both controllable by the player." Miyamoto considered the 2 next frontiers for the Mario series to be a gameplay mechanic of walking on a rotating sphere and coincidentally a setting in space. This was 2 generations early where he was already like thinking about it, which is cool. Mm-hmm. He loved the novel idea of sphere walking because it was totally unexplored in the game industry and because focusing on a full sphere can eliminate camera movements and thus motion sickness. Yeah, I guess. Kind of.
Well,
I know people who get dizzy in playing Mario Galaxy.
Yeah. I get what he means, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. To ensure the GameCube would be successful, Miyamoto was designated by Nintendo to create a new and unique title. He showcased the tech demo, Mario 28. Basically, he wanted to show whatever unique features the GameCube could perform. He was a producer on Smash Brothers, Pokemon Stadium, Majora's Mask, Paper Mario, Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Stadium 2, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Magical Vacation, a Game Boy Advance RPG, which I'd be curious to know more on.
Oh, it's one of those games. I have played the genre before. They're kind of adventure games, kind of not. Yeah. I don't even know what they're called.
His next game that he kind of had a big creative involvement with was Pikmin from 2001. Mm-hmm. Original concept. Mm-hmm. The foundation of Pikmin technology is in the animation and agency of a multitude of interacting characters. A tech demo called Super Mario 128 was shown off in 2000. Miyamoto stated in 2007 that most of you have already played Super Mario 128, but you played it as a game called Pikmin.
I love Pikmin.
Yeah. Originally, he came up with the idea of a game where it starts with 2 people, expanding from that, and codenamed it Adam and Eve.
Okay.
So the Pikmin are your offspring.
Kind of.
Maybe.
You do grow them.
I've almost never played Pikmin.
What is wrong with you?
It's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff, dude. It's a lot.
Well, Pikmin 1 is very hard to play. Pikmin 2 is excellent.
Yeah?
Yeah. The time limit in 1 is pretty rough. You can do it, but it's also a little simple. Not enough really going on for my taste, but 4 is so good.
Yeah.
It is so tasty sweet.
I know right now, Luigi's apartment, he's listening, and he's just smiling and shaking his head, wanting to talk so badly to us about Pikmin.
He loves Pikmin too?
He loves, yes, pretty much all these games we're talking about today, he has profound feelings on.
I hear he barely leaves that place. His apartment.
Yep, he lives there, man. Produced in 2002 to 2005, Eternal Darkness.
Silicon Knights game, mostly.
Super Mario Sunshine.
Great game.
Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, a decent game. Have you ever played it?
Nope.
It's a Zelda clone.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It wasn't originally designed to be a Star Fox game.
No. It was supposed to be like Dinosaur Planet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which it ended up being about a dinosaur planet. So,
Still.
yeah.
Metroid Prime.
It's so good.
Miyamoto suggested the project after visiting Retro's headquarters in 2000. According to Miyamoto, Nintendo did not develop a Metroid game for the 64 as the company didn't have any concrete ideas, and he's not going to force it if no one's got any cool ideas.
Nobody pitched him.
Maybe nothing that was worth doing. The game was planned to use a third-person perspective, but Miyamoto suggested the change to first person, and everything that had already been developed as a third-person game was scrapped. Miyamoto believed that shooting in third person was not very intuitive. And Miyamoto also told Retro, if you were unable to make the transition from regular Samus Aran into her Morph Ball seamless, you would not be given the rights to make the game.
Whoa.
He insisted.
That was his big thing?
If you can't do it, you're not making the game.
The camera just pans back from your point of vision.
It works great.
Yeah, it does.
The Morph Ball, the segments are still burned very vividly into my brain despite not playing that game for over 20 years.
Doing the weird bomb timing.
Just not the bomb timing, but also like those ones where the mazes where you have to drop around and like
I love them.
the magnet stuff. Very cool. Legend of Zelda 4 Swords he produced.
That's a weird one.
Yeah. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
The best.
As Aonuma predicted, some features drew skepticism from producers Miyamoto and Tezuka. For instance, they requested an explanation for the character's exaggeratedly large eyes. Why is Link's eyes so big?
Because he's a child. He's 12.
Miyamoto remained quite dubious of the art direction. He did not want it to be that art direction.
Everyone was wrong. Everyone was wrong.
I think for the time,
I knew it at the time. I thought it looked so good.
I think that most people, though, if it had been that same game with a more realistic art style, the game would have performed better initially, but not aged as well.
Agreed. But who cares?
Agreed.
They made an artistic triumph.
Ultimately, though, Miyamoto relented to his complaints due to the team's enthusiasm about the cartoon style. But response to this cel-shaded design was very divided. There was so much backlash that he limited revealing further information about the game until the team finished a playable demonstration to shift focus from the graphics to the gameplay. Also produced Kirby Air Ride, F-Zero GX, Double Dash, Mario Luigi Superstar Saga.
Double Dash is still the best Mario Kart.
Hands down. Four Swords Adventures, Pikmin 2, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, Jungle Beat, Donkey Kong, and Star Fox Assault.
Star Fox Assault is good.
For the Nintendo DS, Miyamoto worked with the hardware developers and served as producer on the primary launch title, Mario 64 DS.
Fair.
Nintendo made sure that people knew Miyamoto was working on the DS software, which might have been one of the reasons the Virtual Boy performed so badly, because Miyamoto had not supported it, so they wanted everyone to know Miyamoto loves the DS.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, do you remember the original model that Reggie came out with? Do you remember how bad it looked?
It looked,
and then they changed it.
It was quite boring.
It wasn't even going back and looking at the original DS, the chunk instead of the light, you kind of look at it and you're like, I thought this was like peak technology.
It doesn't look like a cool Nintendo console.
No, it's extremely boring looking.
Yep. Just silver, blocky.
But I loved it.
Yeah?
It was my favorite thing in the world.
It did pretty well.
It did.
Including due to the success of Nintendogs from 2005.
Oh, yeah. I played Nintendogs.
That's a concept by Miyamoto. First publicly mentioned in 1997. Shigesato Itoi, designer of Earthbound, Tsunekazu Ishihara, designer of Pokemon, and Shigeru Miyamoto co-developed a Nintendo 64 prototype of a pet creature breeding game called Cabbage.
Why?
I don't know.
Cabbage?
Who knows? But Earthbound, Pokemon, and Miyamoto working together to make a creature breeding game on the 64 called Cabbage.
And then someone made Hey You Pikachu.
Yep.
God, get over here, Pikachu. Stop it.
Fuck you, Pikachu. Pika Pika.
At the end, Pikachu waves goodbye and he leaves.
Forever. He goes off to college.
Man. And I had real empty nest syndrome at age 8.
Well, I guess I better go back to school now.
Okay. Well, time to start earning some money. I'm going to go mow a lawn.
The 4-year development.
Maybe have sex with it.
The 4-year development was fundamentally enabled by the real-time clock and mass writability introduced in the requisite 64DD, such that even if the power is cut, the game can still raise the creature without you there. In 2006, Miyamoto concluded it disappeared, didn't it? However, the conversations and design techniques that popped up when we were making Cabbage are, of course, connected to Nintendogs.
Did you have this?
No.
I loved it.
I have seen 50 different versions of Nintendogs with different dog breeds.
Well, there's 3 in the original lineup.
There's a lot more now.
Really? For the 3DS, yeah. I guess you're right.
There's a ton of them.
Oh, man.
There's probably like Nintendo hamsters.
Oh, boy.
Nintendo llamas. Miyamoto originally came up with the idea for the game when he and his family bought a dog.
Wow. Real. Having a dog does change you.
It's like, oh, this is great. I love taking care of this thing. But what if I could take care of it in a video game instead?
It's pretty cool.
What if I could tell Pikachu to fuck off? He went off to college. I got sad.
My Chihuahua named Poopsicle was a great little dog.
And the concept even goes back to one of those little Tamagotchis,
It's the same.
People develop affection for something they care. It's like that movie Choke, or the book Choke by Chuck Palahniuk.
Oh, yeah.
Where the guy fakes choking in restaurants so people save him, and then they feel responsible for him, and they take care of him.
I love that.
Yeah.
You want to try that?
Yeah.
Let's go choke.
Let's go choke together. The Nintendo Wii game designers Miyamoto and Genyo Takeda led the console's development under the codename Revolution.
Fucking wicked.
The company's game designer Miyamoto said that in the early stages they decided they would not aim to compete on hardware power. Instead, new gameplay concepts.
And that has been their philosophy up until now.
Switch to. Miyamoto cited DDR, Dance Dance Revolution's unique game controllers, as inspiration. Takeda led the team building the hardware components, and Miyamoto spearheaded the development of a new type of controller based on gyrations motion sensing technology. Miyamoto said, originally, I wanted a machine that would cost $100.
Oof. Wow.
Insane. My idea was to spend nothing on the technology so that all the money could be spent on improving the interface and the software. That's too cheap. I understand. I appreciate his mentality there, but that's too cheap.
They were losing money on the Wii anyway when it first came out for $250. They were selling that thing for a loss.
And it was still getting criticized for not looking good enough. The thing is, you can get away with not looking as good, but it needs to look a certain threshold for gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it did look better than the Cube.
I love the Cube.
Same.
He produced in 2006 Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. He advised that Aonuma should start by doing what he could not be done in Ocarina of Time, particularly horseback combat. It was said that Miyamoto would show up and upend the tea table quite a lot. He would just show up and make demands and say something doesn't fit. Luigi, please post in our Discord more about this, if it's true. Wii Sports Shigeru Miyamoto and Nintendo president Satoru Iwata were hesitant to include the game as a pack-in title, but they were convinced by Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé.
That game only deserves to be a pack-in.
But it deserves to be a pack-in.
It needs to exist alongside the system. There are old people who just bought the Wii. Think about that.
Yeah.
They just wanted bowling. They just wanted tennis. They just wanted... I forget what else is boxing.
I'm an electrician, and I've been in a fair number of homes. There's a lot of Wiis still hooked up.
Oh, I know.
It's amazing. And, old folks' homes have Wiis.
Yeah.
People want to go bowling. People want to swing a baseball bat, but they can't do it.
They want to dance to Billie Eilish.
So do I.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The game Wii Sports was featured as both a demonstration and an onstage playable demo. The demo featured Iwata and Fils-Aimé in a doubles tennis match against Miyamoto and a contest winner, Scott Dyer.
Wow. That's not bad. That'd be fun.
2007, he came up with the game design concept for Super Mario Galaxy. And we're actually going to be moving pretty quick with the rest of these.
That's fine.
Development team wanted the game to be enjoyed from the ages of 5 to 95. So during early stages of development, they took steps to ensure the player would adjust to the game without difficulty. Miyamoto said, however, that's too easy and lacked insensitivity, asserting a game loses its excitement if it's unchallenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Video games, unless... I get people wanting to play like chill games, but I don't think I like chill games. I think I like something with a little stress to it.
I feel accomplished when I do a difficult thing.
Yes.
And if jumping as Mario is easy, I'm not going to feel cool about it.
No.
No. If all athletic games were just running and jumping over easy pits, I wouldn't like athletic games.
Yeah.
But I'm an athletic hound. People know that about me.
Are you a big platformer guy?
I guess, I don't know. Sometimes.
Yeah, I seem to play more of them than you do. I kind of find myself really like glomming onto those a lot more.
Just video games in general, you play a lot more than me, though, too.
Yeah. It is my main form of entertainment.
I play more Kingdom Hearts games than you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Fuck, I hate myself. It's not easy being me.
I've watched video essays on why I shouldn't play them.
Check out our Patreon if you want to listen to the Kingdom Hearts lore Bukkake episode.
Man, that was fun.
That's a fun one.
Xanadil.
Try Xanadil. Yes. 3 months into design, Yokota presented 3 different styles of music to Miyamoto. One piece had an orchestral sound, one had pop music, and the last featured a mix of both. Miyamoto chose the orchestral soundtrack as it sounded the most space-like. He chose that piece without knowing Koji Kondo actually wrote it, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
Wii Fit, designer and producer. The game idea had first been included in a design document for a core group of games, including Wii Sports and Wii Play, the entire of which was scribbled onto a sheet of paper. He states that he and his family had become more health conscious, going to the gym and tracking their weight. And he's like, that'd be fun.
Honestly, Wii Fit is pretty fucking fun.
Well, and anything that convinces gamers to do any sort of a physical workout.
Oh, sure.
It's great. Because some people can't be convinced to go actually to a gym. But if somebody can gamifying healthy habits is a good thing. Gamifying Jimmy John's is not.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I don't want a badge.
A badge?
Yeah.
They give you badges?
You get you got the hot ham and turkey badge. Congratulations.
Because you got it so much?
No, I don't. Something like that. You know what I mean though. Like the gamification of everything.
Oh, it's just. Oh,
I do get badges from Jimmy John's. I never look at them though.
Are they just digital?
Yep.
Okay.
No, it's not like a gym badge. Well, if I got a gym badge every time I went to a different Jimmy John's, I'd be all about it.
Oh man, I'd go to every one. Not really. Some are pretty disgusting. You get to see people's homes. I get to see back rooms at Jimmy John's.
Don't get the turkey tom.
Is it bad?
I don't know.
I like their spicy Italian.
I like their number 1 with
East
no
Coast
tomatoes.
Italian.
Or the ultimate porker.
Oh,
it's a horrible name. The ultimate porker.
Yeah. It's a pretty cringeworthy store if you sit down in it.
Yep. Freaky fast, though.
They're just making a sandwich.
In 2010 and 2011, he produced Super Mario Galaxy 2.
The best one.
Yep. Originally planned to just do variations on the original game's planets, and the game was originally called Super Mario Galaxy More.
Okay.
Don't love it.
I love Super Mario Galaxy 2. The stages, it was the same story as 1, but they cut out the chuff. It's less cinematic. You're just going through the levels.
Yeah.
I love the spring power up in that game.
Very cool.
What are the other good ones from that?
Cloud.
There's Cloud Mario. There's Boo Mario.
Boo Mario, very cool.
Boo Mario works pretty damn well.
B Mario or is that Galaxy 1?
I think B returned.
Yeah. B Mario's cool.
There's another one. Penguin Mario?
Another idea for Mario Galaxy came up that would be cameo inclusions by other Nintendo characters, including Donkey Kong and Pikmin. Oof. Miyamoto's like, no.
Why?
Pikmin characters don't work in the Mario universe. There's no reason for this.
No, they don't.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
As we know, Pikmin takes place in our universe.
He flicks a cigarette at that intern who suggested it and goes, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Have you heard rumors that he might not be nice?
I've never heard that. I've heard he can be serious and aggressive.
Oh, I mean, that's serious and aggressive can be not nice.
Well, nice doesn't get results all the time.
I guess so.
I don't know. It's like there's someone who I am friends with, and he owns and runs a brewery, and every time I've interacted with him, great dude, love him, great guy. And one of my friends works for him, and he says, fucking horrible monster taskmaster. And it's like, it's a different thing. I don't know. I don't think anyone would say that much negativity about Miyamoto, though. He seems like a pretty genuine dude.
I'd like to catch a beer with him.
Yeah.
No, he seems like a guy you could get a beer with if he's not too health conscious or he's taking care of his dog.
I'd like to smoke a ciggy with him.
I would smoke a ciggy with Shiggy.
A little cigarette. Produced Skyward Sword.
Sean Connery, is that you?
Shigeru was the dog's name. Something like that. Produced Pikmin 3, Mario 3D World, A Link Between Worlds, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario Maker. Next game he had a big hand in, Star Fox Zero, supervising director and producer. Mm-hmm. He stated that the game's main storyline and presentation were structured episodically, taking inspiration from Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
With the main missions featuring traditional Star Fox gameplay acting as primetime programming, while side missions featured more quirky experimental gameplay mechanics. Mm-hmm. Satoru Iwata would die in 2015. He and Genyo Takeda took up the positions. Miyamoto and Genyo Takeda took up the positions of co-presidents in the interim period before the selection of a new one. Miyamoto would make a few appearances as well, including appearing at the reveal of Pokemon Go. September 16th, 2015, he left his managerial position as head of EAD and became a creative fellow for Nintendo. And in his capacity as creative fellow, he provides feedback and guidance to game directors during development.
It just means he's old and he shows up to play fun games.
And he still has one of the most valuable opinions you can get for any video game.
Yeah.
He was like involved in Twin Snakes, the GameCube port. Like, if Miyamoto shows up with whatever you're working on and he's like, that's good or that's bad, it's like, take note. Not necessarily always right, because he didn't like Wind Waker's design, but he at least has an eye. He fucking created Zelda and Mario. He's got a pretty good track record.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
He did direct one more game. Do you know what it is? I'll give you a hint.
Yeah, one hint. Oh, no.
A mobile game.
It's not Mario Run.
Yes, he directed Super Mario Run in 2016.
Oof.
The game had the development team consisted mostly of the original Super Mario development team too.
Oh, it does not show.
Featuring many similar gameplay concepts adapted for ease of mobile controllers. Takeshi Tezuka served as the game's designer with Miyamoto producer and director. He explained that some of their game franchises became increasingly more complex with their every installment, making it difficult to attract new players. And the company believed that they could use mobile games with simplified controls not only to target the broadest audience, but also to draw them to their consoles by reintroducing these properties.
Do you remember when Tomodachi Life for mobile came out?
No.
That was huge for a minute. I'm surprised you didn't get swept up.
No. I played Pokemon Go. That was pretty much the only craze. That and Balatro.
Well, you know.
The fact that I haven't seen anyone else at work playing Balatro is surprising to me.
Really? You thought that would be like... It's because you have to pay for it.
Well, there's tables at the job site, and everyone's playing different games. Everyone just fucking dicks around their phone and plays some game.
Oh.
I haven't seen any Balatro. Yeah, Mario Run. It's fucking weird. It's very un-Nintendo to make a mobile game that has 4 levels for free, and then you pay for the additional ones.
Yeah, it's a little predatory. I think I got what they were going for. Like, hey, if you like this, you just tried it. But I think the people who really wanted it would have just paid a flat fee to begin with.
And the fact that he just always runs and you... Oh, I don't think it's a bad game. I just think it's unneeded, horrible, and should never have been made.
I agree with that.
Super Mario Run was indeed a game. He would serve as producer on Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey. He was creative director for Super Nintendo World in 2021. He oversaw the design and construction of the land and its attractions and acted as Nintendo's public representatives on the land, hosting several promotional materials, including a December 2020 Nintendo Direct, where he gave a tour. He was a producer on the Mario Brothers movie. He was involved since like 2015, 2016.
That's his baby.
Talking and working with people.
I like the Super Mario Brothers movie.
It's very safe.
Yeah, but what else was it going to be?
Sonic, I think, is a better movie. I think that, well, maybe not Sonic 1.
Sonic 2 and 3 and the Knuckles TV series.
Yes. Those have identities and they stand out as something worthy and separate from the games. The Mario Brothers movie is very just derivative and predictable. And it's just like, here's your bowl of nostalgia O's.
Did I tell you I got Sonic and Shadow Generations?
No.
And I also got the DLC pack where Keanu Reeves actually voices Shadow in the game.
I like that.
It felt strange.
Is Idris Elba voicing? No. Now that's the mistake.
I mean, he would have done it.
Yeah. During a September 2021 Nintendo Direct presentation, Shigeru Miyamoto announced that Chris Pratt, as well as others, would headline the voice cast. And he said, Chris Pratt, he's so cool.
I love his Christian values.
Yeah. Very Mario. I made Devil World.
Mario was probably Catholic until he made it to the Mushroom Kingdom and realized there wasn't any God.
Until he took mushrooms.
Yeah.
He also produced Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4, Personal Life, Miyamoto. Yeah, it's like there's barely anything, which I appreciate.
Yep.
He's married to
No scandals.
a woman named Yasuko. They have 2 children. In 2010, his son was 25 and working at an advertising agency. His daughter was 23, studying zoology at the time. His children played video games in their youth, but he also made them go outside. Although he can speak some English, he's not fluent and prefers to speak in Japanese for interviews.
Fair.
Yeah. Miyamoto generally will not sign autographs. Out of concern that he would be inundated, he also does not appear on Japanese television so as to minimize his chance of being recognized. More likely foreign tourists than Japanese people approach him. It's also a sensibility, I suppose.
I mean, he's pretty unmistakable with that haircut and scary smile.
Yeah. He spends little time playing video games in his personal time. He prefers to play guitar, mandolin, and banjo. We mentioned bluegrass music. He's ambidextrous and usually favors his left hand, which is why characters like Mario and Link were designed to be left-handed. Miyamoto said in a 2016 interview, when he had his own family took up gardening with his wife, which influenced other games he was making at the time to involve more gardening. He has a Shetland sheepdog named Piku that provided the inspiration for Nintendogs, and he is also a semi-professional dog breeder.
Whoa. So he's got a bunch of them?
That's cool.
Okay. So he lets Piku fuck other dogs?
And he watches, and he's like, I should make a dog fucking game.
Wow. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah. It's called Doggy Style.
God.
Miyamoto enjoys rearranging furniture in his house.
Hold on. Nindog fuck. There we go.
I like doggy style more.
Nindog fuck.
Nindog fuck's really bad, dude.
That's why I had to say it. Sorry.
Nintendo doggy style.
Oh, that's better, I guess.
He enjoys rearranging furniture in his house, even late at night. He also states that he has a hobby of guessing the dimension of objects. He likes to have a tape measure on him at all times so he can just measure stuff.
That's cool.
It's fucking weird. That's a concept I don't know if he's integrated into a game where it's like, there's like a packing simulator or something like that. Design philosophy. Miyamoto does not like focus groups. He figures it out for himself if a game is fun. He says that if he enjoys it, others will too. He elaborates, citing the conception of the Pokemon series as an example. And that's the point, not to make something sell, something very popular, but to love something and make something that we creators can love. It's the very core feeling that we should have in making games.
Smart.
In 2003, he described his fundamental distaste for RPGs. Yeah. I think that with an RPG, you are completely bound hand and foot and can't move. But gradually you become able to move your hands and legs, you become slightly untied, and in the end you feel powerful. So what you get out of an RPG is a feeling of happiness. But don't think they're feeling something that's fundamentally fun to play. With a game like that, anyone can become really good at it. With Mario, though, if you're not good at it, you may never get good.
Wow.
Fuck you, RPG nerds. We're athletic gamers here.
I'm an RPG nerd.
Yeah, you don't look too athletic.
I have a bit of a Mario physique, if you know what I mean.
Hey.
And I got the mustache to prove it.
I look like a Chunky Kong.
No, I think you're more Donkey Kong.
The Seth Rogen one?
Sure.
Or the new stupid-looking one from Mario Kart Switch 2?
I think they're the same.
Okay. And that's Shigeru Miyamoto. Like, fucking, I knew he was big time, but even after this, just like reading about all of his involvement in games, he shaped the industry more than any single person.
No, I think you're right. I mean, you could argue Minecraft has done a lot,
but still, it's
not the same span of time.
That's one though.
I know.
He's still relevant now.
Yeah.
I
don't know though. I only play Fortnite.
Me too. I don't know what
I've never heard of these games.
No.
We're just learning this for the first time.
This is crazy. You heard about this Famicom?
It's a lot of lists.
It stands for Family Com. It's a manga.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. We owe a lot to him. And I mean, just so much innovation, so much moving games in a fun, interesting way. The introduction of the Wii Fit, Wii Sports, Zelda, Mario 64, Excitebike. There's just Donkey Kong.
I mean, hell, that alone. You still see Donkey Kong cabinets. If someone's going to have like a barcade, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one of the things that's going to be in there is probably like Tapper. Because it's the theme.
And also we're in Wisconsin. Tapper is a fucking mainstay.
Oh, I know.
I want to get a Tapper for when my house closes, get it for the basement. Tapper would be a great machine to have.
You should get one of those multi-cabs.
Nope. I actually just want an old school Tapper.
Oh, really?
That's the Budweiser Tapper, not the root beer Tapper.
That's going to be hard to find.
Yep.
Or like Burger Time. That was a big one.
Yeah.
You also had like the Namco like 5-in-1. But then there was always Donkey Kong and Pac-Man.
Whenever I see Donkey Kong at any arcade, that's one of the games I always want to play. When I go to Uptown, I will always go to over to play Donkey Kong.
It just feels good.
It's just a good game.
Yeah, it's a very good video game, and anyone can play it. Anyone can pick it up and play it. They understand what the rules are. They understand its cultural significance as well. I saw once at an arcade a dad like forcing his kid to play Donkey Kong. And he's like, no, this game is good. And the kid was just like, I don't wanna. And then the kid ended up doing it, and he's like, I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe to appease his dad. I don't know, but I was observing the entire time, like a creepazoid. And I was like, oh, okay.
You see, the thing is you can't force. You just got to play Donkey Kong in front of the kid, and then he'd be like, what's that? And then you say you wouldn't like it, and then he really wants to.
No, it's for real gamers. You don't really...
Yeah, you're kind of lame.
There's no guns in it. You know? I
can't even do that little stupid dance that you and your Fortniters do.
You're Fortniters.
Yeah.
I'm going to be such a weird old dad.
Well, we're already weird old men, and
It's already happening. I'm graying now.
we're graying now. We need your support. If you enjoyed this episode,
You should to retire.
you should check out all of our other amazing podcasts, including Hair of the Dogcast for all of the video game news and
Every month.
updates once a month. Check out Elden Dogs if you want more Elden Ring content. There is over 55, 60 episodes at
I
this
used
point.
to be on it. I hear it's still good, though.
The podcast is doing very well, and we still love Elden Ring. Our next episode will feature a lot of Night Rain talk.
Most of our Discord is just Elden Ring people.
It's a lot of Elden Ring people.
Yeah, I know. It's fine.
But
My feelings are not totally hurt.
if you're listening to this and you're on our, well, whether or not, you should also check out Popcorn Dogs. Check out movies and TV reviews, and you'll find us here at Raw Dogs as well. If you want access to many episodes and all of those different podcast shows early, as well as exclusive episodes like the Kingdom Hearts Lore Bukkake, check out patreon.com/Hair of the Dogcast to get access to all of them immediately. Special thanks to Patreon executive producers, the list grows, Brian Ward, Ryan Christianik, Kipper, Phil Wright, Jordan Hoff, Kelly Gutowski, Bryant Ross, Phil Just Red Bear Phil, Justin Melly, Christian Nielsen, Just Sonic, and Horny Jim.
Horny Jim. Yep.
And if you see Shigeru Miyamoto in Wild, don't bother him. Just give him a quiet nod like Michael Caine in Batman.
I'll have a Fernet Branca in hand.
And go,
And he'll be like, what? He'll be like, strange.
and then do the Mario pose at him.
He's just like, what the fuck?
Go up to him and be like, Chris Pratt, he's so cool.
No, I'll walk up to him and go, it's a you.
This has been Raw Dogs. We'll see you.
Later.